style, strategy, and plan, trading slumps, causes, red flags, and remedies. Every trader has slumps. If you haven't, well, you just haven't been around long enough. I can remember many deep, ugly slumps in my career, and some of them were exceptionally long losing streaks within those slumps. I can remember 11 days, and I remember one extraordinary 17-day trading slump. That was when I was extremely active as a day trader, not so much now, pretty much focused on swing trading and kind of intermediate term holdings. So my focus has changed, especially a lot as I've gotten older, and I've focused a lot on creating this content for you. Problem for lots of traders is that slumps get so long and so deep, and traders get so entrenched in the potential for a trend reversal to bail them out, that by the time they figure out where they are, and by the time they really look at what's happened in this recent negative period, they've done a lot of damage. Part of it is that they've lost money and maybe an excessive share portion of their trading account, and part of it is certainly that their emotional capital is spent. They're really wrung out after taking a lot of losses or holding positions and rolling positions, and putting a lot of energy into being set up for a market reversal, and then it just not coming. And finally, when there's a down day of some significance, the monetary recovery is so small relative to the amount lost that it just doesn't feel rewarding, and it essentially extends the streak, extends the negative emotional feelings that we have. And recovery takes a long time. It takes a long time because, well, the hole is so big, and the emotional reactions have been so strong that in order to get to a place of confidence takes, well, it's a lot of rebuilding after that. So that's why it's so important to be conscious of the causes, the red flags that they're happening. And then if you get into one of these, and I should say when, because we all do, then the remedies for getting out of the slump and making it just that moving forward. So let's talk about the causes, the common patterns for traders as they move from what is some normal trading pattern into the beginnings of some losing trades, and then it actually becoming a slump. So it actually starts out usually just being wrong on a trade or a couple of trades. Something goes wrong, a trade goes wrong, and then in the normal course of trading, of course, if you're doing really good, you probably are getting 55, 60, 65% of your trades correct. And that means you're losing, 40% of the time, 35% of the time, sometimes more than that. If you do that, of course, you could get no reason you can't have 5 or 10 losers in a row. That happens on 50-50 odds when you flip a coin. So that can happen. So you can get into some normal trading where you have streaks that just have a lot of losing trades in a row. When that happens, of course, the losses start to build up. The next kind of phase, and we're going to picture us moving downward and inward when we make this when we have this discussion. Downward in how we're feeling, we get lower, and inward as far as our emotional reactions. And so we ignore the messages about being wrong at this point. Losses seem like they can be overcome. We're kind of looking for a trend reversal, and we're not that entrenched into it yet. We're just simply, market's going in one way. We've set up positions for being a contrarian potentially, or we have a couple of trades on that made sense to us technically. And so those start to go wrong, and it seems like we can stand it. We can just overcome it, just hang on there. But what's happened is that, we didn't accept the normal loss at that point. And the importance about accepting losses in some regular, normal way is that we can be happy about it, right? I mean, we did it right. We got out of the position and fine, we're moving on. The problem is that sometimes traders then compound the problem through their actions and they take bigger risks. So we're moving into some downward negative action, right? Because, the losses are building. Maybe it's appropriate to increase our risk, take a bigger position, because then if it reverses, we can get back because the hole's a little bit bigger. But, that might be okay, if we get lucky, but the trader may do that for justification. Yeah, I can handle these bigger positions. If it reverses, then, I can justify that. The trend reverses and the money will come back. So we've got bigger risk out there and the same kind of thought process going on, kind of hoping and somehow knowing, sensing that it always reverses, it always comes back. So we're going to hang on here. But things then start to go wrong, potentially more. And our emotions start to rise, right? Fear comes in, anger comes in, shame comes in. Is all of a sudden these losses are bigger than we expected them to be, bigger than we can handle, and they're not within our prescribed risk parameters. This is not normal at all, and we start to become emotional. So now the focus has gone from how we got into the positions, what our normal routine is, to the losses. It's the focus is on the account balance, the goal to recover the money, the negative emotions that we're feeling, and actions that we're potentially taking to not feel those emotions through some addictive actions. The intellectual process is gone at this point completely. All we're doing is focusing on the negative money loss, the fact that our account is significantly lower than the highest level it had been, and it's all gone, right? Every way that we did things in an intellectual way. So now the negative self-talk then comes in. Self-blame. Why can't I ever get this right? Why didn't I do this? How could I do this again? How could I let this happen again? How am I going to tell X, this person, who I've made a promise to or I'm responsible to? So this negative self-talk comes in and the emotions then continue to rise. So that's the pattern that builds as the slump gets deeper and deeper. So now everything's shifted, right? Emotions are high, and the decisions are about money. The money lost, and the decisions are based upon feeling bad. We have a negative feeling going on for what's going on, and we want something to happen to stop the negative feeling. We feel the negatives, we verbalize the negatives, we think the negatives, and that perpetuates what's going on, because if we're doing that, then our actions are going to be in line with negative thinking, right? Not confident, positive thinking, and those are very different actions. We can go over that in depth, certainly in another video. Also, there's a lot of opportunities missed, right? We're not only hung and stuck in the positions and losses, we don't even realize everything going on around us because there's so many opportunities in the market all the time, but we're so focused on maintaining this position, maintaining what we need to do to get back, that we miss everything. And the only plan is to get the money back. It's the only way we can get back the measure of ourself, the identity that we are associating with being a loser versus the identity that we have when we're doing it right. Now, a lot of people do this. In fact, the majority of people that perpetuate slumps get into that kind of a feeling. The plan is completely to get money back at that point. The original plan that we've had, that we designed, that we hope to focus on, is completely lost. So not only is the slump perpetuated by all of that, but it, for some people, will gain momentum at that point. And then some very negative actions can come in. And we're going to talk about what those are when we discuss the red flags. But at this point, essentially, the slump, the losing streak, this negative mentality that we're in, it's all taken a life of its own, right? It's not something that we directed. It's something that is somehow self-directed, that is just moving forward, and seemingly we're just the observers watching this happen to us. That's a sad place to be, because we can create our successes and create our life and our being by taking positive actions. But at this point, it's gotten so deep that it's beyond us being able to do that, and we're just the observer watching the P&L, looking at our losing positions, hoping, negative self-talk, all of that going on. Painted kind of a bleak picture there, didn't I? But that's the common pattern. And I tell you, my pattern that I have been in my history, before I did a lot of personal work and a lot of self-examination, and worked a lot on these things that I'm talking to you about right now. So let's talk about the red flags. The idea is to be able to head this off before it gets entrenched, before the slump really gets deep and out of our control. So here's some. Of course, there are many, many more, but I'm just going to give you some of the red flags. Talked about some of these, but I'll expand on it a little bit. First of all, it's justifying. Holding on to losing trades beyond our rules. It would normally be very obvious to us that a trade that we have on is a bigger loss than we had prescribed as in the normal course of our trading. Like I say, losses are normal. But we're figuring out ways to make it okay to hold on to positions that are outside of the parameters of our design when things go wrong. So often when we do that, we're overtrading, and overtrading both in the size that we're willing to put on, meaning the risk that we're taking at that time because we want to get money back. It's also about the level of activity. Our level of activity could be picking up pretty significantly. Sometimes it gets to the level of suicide trading where, oh my God, I've lost so much already. I mean, who even cares? I'm just taking the shot. We'll see if this bails me out. It's some miracle. And it rarely does. I've had a time when it did, but it's so unhealthy. I'll tell you a little bit about that. I was trading on the floor, and I had been in a slump, one of these slumps. So my trading account, in other words, the money in my account, was down to like $3,000 or something like that, right around that. You can imagine where it came from. And I had a lot of money outside of the account, so I could still bring more money in, and I had credibility with the clearinghouse. So the next day, my account went negative by something like $3,000 or a little bit more than that. So you could trade with $3,000 in your account, but you couldn't trade with a negative balance on the floor. So you had to bring it up to a positive. I put in exactly that amount of negative plus 1 cent more. It's kind of a mental thing I was doing. And the result was that next day, now remember very clearly, the deficit was on a Tuesday, and I put the money in Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning, I started with 1 penny in my account. On the close Wednesday, my account balance was $142,000. Yeah, I made $142,000 that day trading on the floor. By Monday of the following week, my account was a deficit again. So that just shows you how, though I recovered the money back fast, how the negative mentality, the parts of me that were perpetuating the slump, because the $142,000 didn't get everything back. I still had a hole. That kept the whole negative mentality going, and I never did change what I was doing. I just continued to trade huge. $142,000 in my account. You would think that I would say, "Oh, what a save! Let me get back to some sanity here," but I didn't do that because I was still in the negative mindset. So I'm on this discussion of over trading, and you can see that's what I was doing, and because I didn't correct my actions, it perpetuated the continuation of the slump, which went on for some period beyond that. And I ended up, of course, bringing more money into my account, and until I gained some sanity, it didn't stop. Right, so that's the overtrading and the risk of that. The other next red flag is undertrading. A lot of traders will go away. They'll ignore positions. Maybe they're not completely away from the market. They're peeking in. When I say go away, it's kind of go away mentally, and they're allowing distractions in their life. They're doing addictive things that can definitely keep them away from the focus of the market, that allows them to stay in positions that they should probably be out of. And basically it's a total, I don't believe in myself, I'm just going to step away. But they leave the risk on, and they're really just in this place still of hoping. The next sign is you're just simply off your trading plan. I mean, if you have losses building up and you're trading in ways that are outside of what you designed, there's something significantly wrong going on. So you have to listen to that. You have to really look at that. Why am I off this plan? I mean, I've designed this. I spent hours doing it. I mean, some people I know have plans that are a couple pages. Some people have written whole books on their trading plan. Whatever it is, if you're off of it, you probably should know it, right? So that's another red flag. This is another really big red flag because I know I've done it, and that's keeping secrets. In other words, you're losing money, it's going bad. You've got people that you've decided that you were going to make a promise to, be accountable to, partners, spouses, significant others, and you're not telling the truth. So that's a giant red flag that you're perpetuating a trading slump. You're in one, and it's going to get worse. Another is comparing others' success to you. In other words, you feeling envy about, well, how can they do it and I can't do it? I'm just going to stay in these so I feel better and keep doing what I'm doing, because eventually it's going to turn and I'll feel better about me. But I don't understand why they get it right and I don't, why they're doing well and I'm not. So a lot of that comparing going on. The giant red flag is your emotions are really high. You're having the body reactions. Your palms are sweaty. You're white. You're sitting at your desk and looking at the screen and wanting to vomit. Man, I have been in that place. And that is a time to say, okay, there is something significantly wrong going on. I talked about this next one, the 3 Ps that are out of the book Learned Optimism. And these are giant red flags, and I really encourage you to look for them. There's language going on in your brain that is negative. You're making what's going on personal. In other words, this losing streak is about who you are. So when it's personal, the I am a loser, or I can't do this, or you're degrading who you are, then when you're in that negative place, there's no way you can design ways out of it, because if you believe about yourself that negatively, how could you possibly design a way to be better? Nobody could if they're as bad as they think they are. The second P is that it's perpetual. In other words, this will never end. Every time I get involved, every time I trade in the markets, every time I think that I've got it right, I get it wrong. It's perpetual. It will never end. That's the second P. And the third P is it's pervasive. It's everything I do. Everywhere I look, I'm getting things wrong. fighting with my kids. I'm fighting with my wife. I don't have a good relationship with my partner anymore. It's about everything I do. So when you're in these 3 Ps, there's no way you can design a way out of the slump that you're in. So that is the red flags, and I'm telling you, there are many, many more red flags when it comes to the signs that you're getting into a slump. You're losing money, and it's probably going to get worse. So, what are the remedies? Well, I'm going to give you 6 tips here. We'll look at some slides and talk about this. And assuming that you're in a slump, or I'm assuming that you will be in a slump, because all of us get into slumps. I do even still now after 43 years in the markets. It's going to happen, and so we need the remedies to get out of it. So here are the 6 slides with 6 tips for you on things to do when you get into a slump. So here is number 1. Number 1 is sweep positions clean and take a break. This is really hard to do for a lot of people. Because once you do that, right, you're stuck in hoping your positions are going to come back. Well, that ends the hope of recovery. But you can't get to the other side until you've done that. There's some surrender involved in here in order to be able to be successful in the long term. And that surrender is that, I'm wrong in this phase, there's something on the other side that's going to bring me success, but I can't see it now. So you got to end this, the hope of recovery, and that's really hard to do for some people. Your break can be a day or longer, but the return must be on plan, original or a revised plan. It means you're accepting the losses, that you're accepting you. No matter what this has been, that the money is gone, it's over, and I am the greatness of who I am and who I've been, no matter what. So the money is only a small piece of our life. It's about ending it right now. The losses are gone, the money's gone. Surrender, accept, get to the other side of this, and accept you. In other words, it's self-forgiveness. It's no matter what I've done here, I know I let it get out of my control. I know that now is the time it's going to end, and it means you're really willing it, right? You're really saying, this is going to happen now, and I trust myself to be able to move forward. Building self-trust, that's what this is all about. Sweeping those positions, taking a break. If you're still focused on losses, if you still have the negativity going on, you are not ready. Stop, regain your focus, stop again, clean the slate, do this over again, this particular step, because you've got to be able to get to where you're not looking at the negative side of this. It has to all be positive, so it's self-fulfilling, so that the stuff that you have within you that's positive can rise again, because you're keeping it down with all the negativity. So you've got to get clear. This is a clearing right over here, where you're clearing yourself, you're giving yourself self-acceptance, you're acknowledging everything that's great about you, you're clearing, you're cleaning, you're getting ready to start afresh and start again. So that is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is, I'm going back to it, right? I just said this. Accept the losses are gone. So I'm reiterating this as tip 2, essentially, because there's more to think about here. No trade that you do should be about recovery. In other words, you want to avoid focusing on your high watermark of your account. Forget about that. Forget where the account was. It's got nothing to do with anything here. So the trade you take should not be about digging out of a hole. It's avoid the thoughts like, I made X dollars back. That dollars back is a tell that you're still focused on the negative. You see that your account's down $10,000 and all of a sudden you're only down $8,500. So you're focusing on the whole versus focusing on, I did things well and made $1,500 because I did it the correct way, and noting what is correct about it. So you're measuring your success from the current levels versus measuring it being less negative because you've made money back. Tip number 3 is review your trading plan. In other words, revise it where necessary. Go back and get a strong focus on what your rules are, your risk parameters, your size parameters, everything about the plan that you're going to do every single day and review every single day so that you know where you are. If you don't have a written plan, do it now. If you don't have a written plan, you don't even know when you're off your plan, right? So you have to really spend some time and really design how you want to approach the markets. And there's lots of things out there about how to write a plan. And I even soon will be coming up with a product on how to do that. So, but I don't want to self-promote in here. But you can find a lot of resources out there about writing your trading plan. Once you do it, copy it, sign it, and give it to a buddy or a spouse or partner. So in other words, now you're going to be accountable. We're going to talk about accountability in just a moment. The next one is you're going to journal. All right, so keep it simple. A lot of people are worried about you've got to get an online journal, you've got to download all of your trades, you've got to do a lot of things that are very technical, so they don't do it, essentially. So I want you to keep it really simple. All I want you to do is make it so that you don't avoid it. And essentially you can do it on a columnar pad and do it by hand. That's the way I've done it all my career. And that what you want to do is note the lessons in there. Note the red flags on each day. Note your violations and improvements, your reasons to celebrate in there. And keep the numbers so you have something to evaluate. You're going to want to keep this going for a long period of time. And when you evaluate yourself, it can't be on how I did today. It's really got to be on the longer term. So, think about it in 10-day periods. Think about it in 30-day periods. When you do that, you will be building confidence because you're going to see what you need to do to be successful. So the next one is build your confidence versus building your account. I promise you that if you do things the way you design, the right way, you will get paid for it. It's like having a job. Do your job correctly, they pay you money. It's the same thing for trading. Do your trading correctly, and they pay you money. So this is all about building confidence. Replace that negative self-talk with affirmations. When you hear that I can't language, or this always happens to me, or I do this in everything I do, or all of those negative languages, you've got to replace them with affirmations. The I am great things about your life, and make a whole list of those is what I believe you should be doing. Focus on your whole life versus trading. In other words, you're going to give trading a really small weighting of everything in your life. That helps you build confidence. So when something goes wrong, you focus on everything great about what's going on for you and really make it a tiny part of what's going on in your life. Take losses and celebrate doing it correctly. So if you have a plan that says, well, okay, I'm going to make this up. You buy an option, and you have a rule that says, I get out of this option if I lose 50%. And that's it. That's your written in stone rule. You take that loss, and I swear, get up and do a dance, celebrate, do something that says, I did this right, and I know by taking this loss right, it's going to keep me from perpetuating into a losing streak, and let's focus on what's right and what's good right now. And weight your success each day by your overall success in your approach versus the monetary gain, right? I followed my rules 50%. Well, that's kind of weak, right? So you know that could kind of get you in trouble. I followed my rules by 90%. Well, that's really strong. And that's, when you do that, you're going to perpetuate long winning streaks versus long winning streaks. So losing streaks. So you're focusing on and rating yourself by how successful you are at your approach, at following your plan, versus the monetary gain and loss. We don't care about the money. We care about how you approach the market, and then the money will come. I know that's sometimes a hard thing to believe, but go and look at my process versus money video, and I talk a lot about that in that video. And the next one is be accountable. This is the best way to build self-trust. In other words, you're going to commit to certain things that you're going to be accountable to yourself, and that you're going to be accountable with other people. So when you do that, you're really going to start to trust yourself, and you're going to move in a confident way. It's the best way to keep your emotions in check. And remember, no secrets. You've got to be out there. You've got to be willing to say what's true, because if you're not, you know that your emotions are holding that stuff in. It's usually shame. I'm ashamed of who I am. I'm guilty for what I'm done. That's the difference in shame and guilt, but they're cousins of each other. Create your daily accountability check-in with a buddy, spouse, partner, coach, whoever that's going to be, and make it brief, just to check in. I was 50%, I was 90%, I broke this rule, I did really well at this. I mean, a couple of sentences, but you're accountable and therefore focused on each day. And you have any questions about this, about developing your plan, about any of this, be willing to ask for help. Many of you are watching this, and you're in trading rooms, or you're in places where they offer classes, or there's a lot of trading pros that are around you, and be willing to ask for help on this. And for so many it's hard. For so many people, it's hard, because if you do that for people that are in a negative place, it's admitting that somehow they don't know, that somehow they're less than, and it gets to be hard. Or, of course, that you can ask Slim. So, of course, if any of this you get stuck on, you can ask me and send me an email for clarity on any of the things that we just talked about. So lots of stuff in there, and I think that between understanding the causes and seeing the red flags, and you could probably put in some of your own red flags on that, and the remedies, which is kind of a program of 6 different steps there, I think that you will really get through it. So that's it, the causes, red flags, and the 6 tips. And there could be some personal tweaks, and there might be something you want to email me that you can add to this that you think is super valuable, that I could pass on to other people. Whatever you do, this is about ending a slump, and remember that it means surrender. It means that you're essentially giving up, but it's giving up this negative place, this perpetuation of the losing streak, not giving up who you are. And that is maybe the biggest lesson of all, that once you surrender, you're actually reclaiming who you are, because then everything you are can then go back into action, the good stuff, because you're stuck and withholding that because of the negative place. Man, I hope that was clear, because that's such important lesson. So, you have to move forward in that way with that lesson, and your commitments that you make. This is about commitments and accountability for you to get past this slump. Remember that it is really rare, very rare, to go through a process like this, do what you need to do to end the slump, and then get right into a winning streak after that. I mean, not only is it rare, but you've got to question the validity if that happens. Usually, because remember, we're still reeling, we're still in this, getting out of this negative mindset, and we've been out of touch with a lot of things in the market because we've been in this slump. It takes some time. So you've got to give yourself some time and expect that you still might backpedal a little bit. There still might be some losses, and you still might take a little time to be able to move forward in a healthy way. But all that stuff, all the losses from before, all of that that's over. Plainly, that's over. And we begin anew with confidence and believing that we'll move forward and looking at all of the positives as we do so. That's style, strategy, and plan for today about slumps. I hope that you found that valuable. And of course, I'm always looking forward to your commentary. So send them on. See you in the next segment. This is our Level 2 trial membership. We are starting this right now for new subscribers. This will not last long, and this is the last time we will have this pricing right now. What this includes is the stock index report live stream that you can see. What that is live right on your computer. You don't need a special platform, of the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Russell. I'll show you that in a moment. Our stock index report, which we put out every day, the snapshot, the SIR, you'll get that every single day. You'll get our weekly stock index report, our weekly ETF review, Slimulator momentum tracker, which is for position traders and investors, over 1,000 different stocks that you could look at, ETFs, with our algorithms built into it. With momentum conditions, you're going to see fantastic stuff in there. Just amazing. You'll get our complete library, 600 plus videos in 9 categories that I've done, teaching all kinds of aspects and showing all kinds of analysis in the stock market, and our new trader workbench for trade planning. Absolutely amazing. What's more amazing, you'll get all of that for $22.50 the first month. There are even bigger discounts if you take quarterly discounts. How can you possibly pass this, especially if you're an active trader? Just go to AskSlim.com, top of the main page. You'll see the special link there, and you'll be able to sign up for the 1 month or for the quarterly. Or if you have questions about that or have an issue with that link, then write to Matt at AskSlim.com. Let me show you just some examples of what is in here. Just absolutely mind-boggling. This is the SIR live stream. Now, this was from the 24th. This was from Wednesday, the 24th. And this is for our intraday charts, really for short-term trading. These are 15-minute charts of the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the Russell. What it has on here is what we call our reversal scout. This helps you with your directional decisions. And when it turns up, which it did the day before, you generally get upside moves. You're going to get our resistance levels right in here, and you're going to get our, these are called acceleration zones, the yellow ones. The probability when they enter the acceleration zone that they will continue is extremely high. You can get the numbers from that if you want. And once it gets in there, you can see it just explodes through. This is how you catch the big trades. And sometimes when it dips right into the support, as you could see right there and right there. Just absolutely great. And you can also see which are the strongest and weakest of these indexes, which was really clear as the NASDAQ was the weakest and the Russell was the strongest. And you could see that. It's incredible. That is what you saw on the up day on Wednesday. How about the down day on Thursday? Let's take a look right over here. And yes, what happened was you got this early downturn here in the reversal scout, and it went down all day long through all of those zones right over there. Just absolutely incredible. Through the acceleration zones where you catch the biggest trades, and then got into this area, but it was late in the day and couldn't even turn around, as you can see that. So just fantastic information here. How about what's going on today? Let's put it up live right now for you to see. Here you go. This is now live on my screen. And we started out the day choppy, moving down, but then when the reversal scout turned up, you can see what happened, and it came up right to resistance, and you're getting some resistance right over there. You get the NASDAQ moving up through those acceleration zones. Beautiful. Hits the resistance. Now pulling down. But you could see what's going on. What's the weakest index right now? Clearly the Russell. So if you wanted to be doing a pair trade, well, you would probably be buying NASDAQ today and shorting Russell. If you wanted to just buy and you didn't know which one, well, you could see which is the strongest one in here. here today, which is the NASDAQ. Just absolutely fantastic, in resistance right now, failing from resistance, getting through the acceleration zones, hitting resistance and backing off. If you're a short-term trader, I mean, this is just unbelievably fantastic information when you look at that. So that is a look at the live SIR live stream, and you can have this right on your charts. Just absolutely fantastic, amazing. Here is the library, 3 new videos every week, 9 categories, over 600 videos. I'm not going to read it to you. You can read it, but just incredible things. You can see Trader Psychology. Got lots of great things in there about how you can deal with personal issues that may be getting in your way of success. So just unbelievable stuff, including Future Speak, which we do every Wednesday, our certainly most popular member video. That's what's included. This is the only until March 14th. So this is essentially about 2.5 weeks. The final opportunity at this price for all of these great things that you're going to get. You saw that, $22.50 for a 1-month trial, quarterly discounts, bigger discounts. Go to AskSlim.com, top of that main page, and you can sign up right there, or questions right to Matt at AskSlim.com.